If you are watching price charts while ignoring the plumbing, you are looking in the completely wrong direction. We have to be crystal clear right now. Ignoring the infrastructure shift that is happening under our feet right now means you will miss the boat on the 2026 financial landscape. This isn't about some daily price tick. It's about the very foundation of the U.S. and global banking system. It's shifting.
And here's the twist. It's the one thing everyone seems to be getting wrong. The common assumption is that for crypto adoption to really happen, banks have to just tear down their old systems.
Right. Rip and replace everything. Start from scratch.
Exactly. They think you have to throw out the old servers. But the truth is, it's the complete opposite. A massive software update just happened that connects those legacy systems directly to the blockchain without the banks having to rebuild a single thing.
And by the time we're done with this analysis, you are going to understand precisely how a $5 trillion deposit network has just been bridged to the ledger, and more importantly, what that actually means for the future of your money. The plumbing is finally being turned on.
It's the difference between, speculating on the price of water versus owning the pipes. Today, we're looking at the pipes.
Okay, let's get right into it. The headline that dropped, and honestly, it is shocking how few people grasp the scale of this, is the partnership between DXC Technology and Ripple. Now, I got to be honest with you. When I hear DXC Technology, it doesn't exactly, give me goosebumps. It sounds like a company that makes beige office furniture. Why is this such a big deal?
Because boring is where the real money is. DXC isn't some hype machine, they're an infrastructure giant. So if you're looking for viral memes, you're in the wrong place. But if you're looking for the actual backbone of the global banking sector, that's DXC. The specific news is they've partnered with Ripple to integrate Ripple payments and Ripple custody directly into something called the Hogan Core Banking Platform.
The Hogan Core Banking Platform. Okay, that sounds intense, but also, frankly, a little dated. Like it's from the era of fax machines. What exactly is a core banking platform? We throw that term around. What does it actually do?
Think of it as the central nervous system of a bank. It's the software that calculates your interest, processes your deposits, manages withdrawals. It reconciles the entire ledger every single night. If that software goes down, the bank doesn't just have a bad day, it effectively stops existing.
So it's the engine room. And you're saying DXC runs this engine room for who exactly are we talking about here?
We are not talking about small credit unions. The Hogan platform supports over 300 million accounts globally. But the number that should really stop you in your tracks is the volume. We're talking about $5 trillion in deposits.
Wait, say that again? $5 trillion.
$5 trillion. That's the scale of the network that DXC manages.
Okay, I have to pause on that. $5 trillion. That's not a pilot program. It's not a test budget. That is roughly the entire GDP of Japan.
Right.
You're telling me $5 trillion worth of capital is just sitting on this one platform?
That's right. And until now, that capital has been, trapped. It's been sitting in a walled garden, totally disconnected from the blockchain economy.
This is where I get a little skeptical, though. You said banks don't have to rebuild anything. But if this Hogan system is as old as it sounds, it's probably running on code written before I was born. How on earth do you just plug in a blockchain? You can't just jam a USB drive into a mainframe from the 80s.
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question, and the answer is something called last-mile connectivity. This is the genius of what DXC and Ripple have actually built. They haven't rewritten the bank's core code. Instead, they've built a wrapper, an interface layer.
A wrapper?
Think of it like a universal translator. The bank's old, reliable core system, it just keeps speaking its old language, COBOL or whatever it is. It feels safe. It doesn't even know anything's changed. But this new layer, this integration, it takes those instructions and translates them instantly into blockchain transactions.
So to the bank's CTO, nothing scary is happening. They're not ripping out the wires.
Precisely. And that solves the single biggest barrier to entry. You have to understand the psychology of a bank executive. They are terrified of execution risk. If they try to build some custom blockchain thing and it breaks, they get fired. The bank gets fined billions. But this is just a software update from a vendor they already know and trust.
It's like you have a house with old copper plumbing. It works, but you want filtered water. You don't tear down the house and rip all the pipes out of the walls. You just screw a filter onto the faucet.
That is a perfect analogy. The faucet is the Hogan platform. The filter is Ripple's tech.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, that old copper plumbing can deliver digital assets. The banks just need to update their software to become Ripple-enabled.
And they keep all the security and stability, but they gain the speed of the ledger.
Exactly. And when you remove that kind of friction for $5 trillion worth of deposits, things start to move very, very differently.
I want to focus on the geography here for a second. We know this is global, but DXC is a huge player in the U.S.
And this is critical for our U.S. audience. We always hear about innovation happening in Asia or Europe, and we'll get to that. But the Hogan platform powers a significant chunk of the U.S. banking core. This isn't just happening over there. This capability is being installed in the server rooms of American banks.
It creates a kind of sleeper network, doesn't it? The capability is just installed quietly. It's not a Super Bowl commercial. It's an IT ticket. Ticket number 405. Install update 2.0. And suddenly, that bank is crypto ready.
It completely removes the technical excuse. A CEO can't say, oh, we can't do this, the tech is too hard. The tech is now standard issue.
But, there's a big difference between having the pipes installed and actually turning on the water.
Right.
The U.S. has the pipes now, thanks to DXC. But who's actually drinking the water? Because the narrative here is still crypto is for gambling.
And that brings us to the retail reality check. While the U.S. is busy working on the back-end plumbing, other parts of the world are already rolling out the front-end consumer experience. We have to look at Garanti BBVA.
Right, the Turkish subsidiary of the Spanish giant BBV.
Yeah.
I saw the news, but I'll admit my eyes kind of glazed over. Another bank, another partnership. Why is this one different?
It's different because of the scale and the commitment. This is not a sandbox experiment. This isn't 10 employees testing a wallet in the basement. Garanti BBVA Crypto just renewed and aggressively expanded their partnership with Ripple Custody. They're rolling this out to millions of customers.
Millions. So this is live right now.
It is live. If you are a Garanti customer, you can open your normal banking app, the same one you use to pay your electric bill, and you can buy, sell, and store XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum.
That's the holy grail, isn't it? No separate exchange, no writing down private keys on a napkin, just banking.
It merges the two worlds. But here's why it's so important for the DXC story. It serves as proof of scale. The biggest fear for a U.S. bank using that Hogan platform is, what if we turn this thing on and the volume just crashes the entire system?
Right, can it handle Black Friday?
Garanti BBVA is proving it can. They're the stress test. They're proving Ripple's custody solutions are secure, that the transfers settle instantly, and that the customer demand is absolutely real.
So it feels like a pincer movement. You've got the back end being secured in the West with DXC.
And the front end being stress tested in the East with Garanti. It validates the entire technology stack. If a bank with millions of users can run Ripple custody with no issues, it gives those U.S. banks on the Hogan platform all the confidence they need that the software update is safe to deploy.
Okay, so we have the plumbing with DXC, we have the retail proof with Garanti. But there's a third piece to this puzzle, and I think this is the one people are sleeping on the most. We need to talk about Dubai.
The institutional roundtable.
Right, yes. Reece Merrick, Ripple's managing director for the Middle East and Africa, was at the Gulf Cap Market event in Dubai. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's a conference. People eat tiny sandwiches. But you have to look at who was sitting at that table.
The guest list was heavy. This was not a crypto startup convention. You had Standard Chartered. You had Franklin Templeton.
S&P Global, Euroclear Bank, Emirates, NBD Capital.
Okay, let's break that down, because a name like Euroclear might not mean much to everyone, but they basically run the world, don't they?
They are the plumbing of the traditional stock market. Euroclear settles trades. When you buy a stock, they're the ones who actually move the ownership and the money. They settle hundreds of trillions of dollars in securities every year.
And Franklin Templeton, they manage over $1 trillion. But more than that, they are all in on tokenization. They've already launched a money market fund on chain. They are actively moving traditional assets onto the ledger.
So you have the people who manage the money, the people who settle the trades, the people who rate the entire economy. And then, sitting right there with them, you have Ripple. My question is, why is Ripple the only blockchain native company at that table?
That's the signal. Because the conversation has completely shifted. The topic wasn't, how do we pay for coffee with crypto? The topic was, and I'm quoting, digitalization and tokenization of securities markets.
So we're not talking about payments anymore. We're talking about moving the ownership of value itself.
Payments are just the first layer. The securities market, that's the main event. We're talking about digitizing real estate, equities, corporate debt. And when you have Euroclear at the table, you're talking about the entire global financial inventory.
And this all connects right back to DXC, doesn't it? Because if Franklin Templeton wants to tokenize a fund and sell it to millions of investors, they can't do that on a spreadsheet.
No, they need a pipe, a massive pipe that can handle institutional-grade volume. They need that industrial plumbing. And the infrastructure being built by DXC is exactly what handles the volume these institutions are about to generate.
So Ripple isn't trying to be the currency you use at the corner store.
Yeah.
They want to be the settlement layer that moves a billion-dollar bond for Emirates NBD.
That's the entire play. You see the ecosystem now. You have the retail adoption proving the tech works with Garanti. You have the legacy tech giants like DXC building the bridge. And you have the financial titans in Dubai planning what assets they're going to drive across that bridge.
But there's always the wet blanket at the party. Regulation. You can have the best tech, the biggest partners, but if the regulators say no, it's all over.
That has been the story for the last 3 years. But that story is changing fast.
It really feels like the dam is breaking. I'm seeing headlines that would have seemed impossible even a year ago.
Look at the UK. The FCA just granted Ripple the EMI license and crypto asset registration. That was around January 9th. That is a massive green light in a top-tier financial hub. It's basically them saying, you are clear for takeoff.
And Asia's not waiting around either.
Asia's moving even faster. We're hearing Hong Kong will issue stablecoin licenses in the first quarter of 2026. Japan is launching stablecoins. Remember the EHKD pilot with Fubon Bank?
The one where they were tokenizing property liens?
Yeah. That wasn't just some science experiment. It was the direct precursor to this stablecoin rollout. The regulatory environment is clearing up at the exact same moment the technical infrastructure from DXC is going live.
That's the synthesis.
Yeah.
That's the point I really want you to get. If you look at these events in isolation, a license in London, a partnership in New York, a conference in Dubai, it all looks like random noise. But when you overlay them,
it's convergent evolution. The laws are being signed at the same time the software updates are being installed. It removes all the excuses. A year ago, a bank could say, we can't use this, the regulation is unclear, or our systems just aren't compatible.
And today?
Today, the regulation in key hubs is clear. And thanks to DXC, the systems are compatible. The excuses are just evaporating.
So let's bring this all back. We promised to explain the $5 trillion switch. It sounds like we're waiting for some single moment, one button press.
The switch isn't a single event. You won't wake up one Tuesday and see crypto accepted in the news. The switch is a series of these quiet integrations. It's the DXC partnership making the connection. It's the Garanti rollout testing the demand. It's the UK license opening the floodgates.
It's all happening in the background, in server rooms and boardrooms. And for our U.S. audience, I need to be direct with you. You are living on top of this shift. The infrastructure is being laid under your feet right now. While everyone is debating which coin is going to moon next week, the core of your country's banking system is being rewired for tokenized assets.
The plumbing is done. The water is about to flow.
This is exactly why you need this information. If you want to stay ahead of these shifts, you have to subscribe to Crypto Global News right now. I'm serious. Hit the bell icon to get regular updates. Don't rely on the algorithm to show you this. It won't. You need to demand it. Like this video and share this intelligence so we can keep bringing you this level of analysis.
The signal is there, but only for those who are actually listening.
Before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought, a cliffhanger. We know the $5 trillion pipe is connected through DXC. We know the licenses are signed in the UK and Hong Kong.
So the question is, what happens to global liquidity when the first major U.S. bank actually flips that switch on the Hogan platform?
What happens when the floodgates truly open? We have a roadmap for that. Click the video on your screen right now to see the breakdown of the 2026 stablecoin roadmap. That's where the liquidity is headed. Click it now. Don't miss it.
Stay ahead in the crypto market. Subscribe now for the latest global news and updates.